Hi, good afternoon and welcome to the Marketplace. My name is Darlington Akugo. Coming up this afternoon, domestic flights halted for 3 hours today as workers of Ghana Civil Aviation Authority protest encroachment of their lands. Bulk fuel importers hike prices of various petroleum products by a little over 2%. We will explore the implications. Also this afternoon, we'll tell you which bank is offering the most competitive rate on loans and interest on savings. Thanks for being with us. Details right after this break. Welcome back to the Marketplace. My name is Darlington Akugo. We begin with developments at the airport today. Domestic flights were today grounded for about 3 hours as workers of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority held a protest against encroachment of their lands. The workers only agreed to return if government promised to intervene. Here's spokesperson for the workers, William Amwako.
It's been strange. We were asked to
Civil Aviation Authority, Ghana Civil Aviation Authority has two parcels of land. One at Lankwantanai, that's a Sarabuchi area, and one at Latias. This land is being encroached by people that we don't even know. There's one particular man, Clement Jato, who has taken charge of this place, and he goes about even threatening our staff, getting access to even our facilities to repair the vital equipment that we use here. At times it's even a challenge, and in certain cases they have gone to the extent of even cutting some of these cables. So at times it affects our operations, and that's why we are embarking on this action. But of course, the Minister of Aviation and his deputy have been here. The Minister for National Security has been here, and they have given us the assurance that they are going to handle it. So we are standing down for now, and we'll monitor the promises that they have given, and if everything goes on well, then we solve the problem. We're actually fighting for the nation, not for ourselves. Yeah.
We had the Security Minister giving you up to Monday for some roundtable discussion. Are we going to wait till that Monday, and what are you going on board with that roundtable meeting?
Yeah, we have all our, plans. So what we expect that at that roundtable, all the people associated with the land will come on board, and we should be able to reach an agreement. So that is what we expect.
But your action is also impacting on domestic flights moving out of Accra and in of Accra. Are you going to resume, by this assurance from the minister, are you going to resume operation as soon as possible or with immediate?
Yes, we are resuming operation. We are giving him all the due respect, the promise that he has given. So we are resuming immediately all the suspended flights.
All right, so like you heard in that interview, the Minister for National Security, Albert Kandapa, has invited the workers to a meeting to find an amicable solution to the matter. He has also assured of deploying some security personnel to the sites until the matter is resolved. Now, Darlington Akugo was one of the passengers affected by the grounding of flights as workers of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority protested. He shares with Joy Business his experience.
It's been strange. We were asked to come down from the plane because it was aborted due to an unforeseen strike, apparently. So we came down, and we waited for maybe about 30 minutes. Not much information was given to us, and then we were later informed that we can now board again. So we tried boarding again, but then once we were on the bus about to leave, we were informed that it has been aborted again. So we had to come down We waited for a few minutes, then we're told that it's okay, we have the clearance to go again. So now we are headed to the plane. It's been a weird, it's been a very weird experience of back and forth. Not so much transparency, but it seems that at least they are trying to resolve the issue. So it seems that the air traffic control personnel went on strike, I think, against the privatization of the airport. So that is what this is about, and I think that the airline staff are trying to resolve things with them. So at least for now, we are headed to the plane. Hopefully this time we get to take off and then without any issues again. So yeah, it's been a strange experience because most of us have plans that require us to be in Tamale at a certain time. So we are on the Africa World Airlines headed to Tamale. For me personally, I'm the founder of Akarago AI, where we provide artificial intelligence and drone services to agro farmers, as well as plant breeders and agricultural scientists. So yeah, I was supposed to get them and map the whole field so that we help them detect diseases and work towards ensuring food security in Ghana and Africa. But then the more we delay here, the more it affects if we can actually do the map.
Hopefully the situation has normalized at the airport, as we have been told. Moving on, bulk fuel importers have hiked prices of various petroleum products by a little over 2%, influenced by the continuous increase in fuel prices on the global market. George Afe has the latest.
We understand that this is the price that these bulk oil distributors are willing to sell to the oil marketing companies that actually working to review prices at the pumps from this Wednesday, in line with this 2-weekly review. Most of these bulk oil importers have argued that the increase has been influenced by the continuous jump in price of finished products on the global market and not necessarily price movement of crude oil on the international market. Now, based on the numbers, diesel should go up by 2.16%. Petrol may attract 2.05% per litre. These oil marketing companies should start negotiating with these bulk oil distributors, but if they are not willing to adjust their prices, then they may have to pass it on to consumers for them to pay. This should mean that from this Wednesday you should expect another increase in prices of petroleum products at the pumps. Prices have already gone up by some 4% from last week. Now, looking at the current market sentiment from the perspective of consumers, it is likely that the market leader, GOIL, may absorb the expected hike, a development that could force the over 100 oil marketing companies to hold this expected jump in prices of petroleum products at the pumps. The continuous increase in prices of petroleum products from last month, coupled reduction in the number of passengers that each operator could handle, forced these commercial operators to push for about 40% jump in fares, but just got about 15% approved. Now that is even yet to trickle down into the economy, which should increase the cost of living. Well, another increase is staring in our faces, and it's clear the cost of living in the coming weeks could escalate again. But for the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Duncan Amwa, the best way out now is to have a stabilized forex regime for these bulk oil importers.
Once they are able to be forecast what their FX rates are to pay their suppliers, then Ghanaian consumers would not necessarily need to be charged any additional monies on their petroleum prices at the pumps. These things are quite doable, and we think it should be.
Based on our forecast from several actors in the industry, the price of petroleum products will be going up in the coming weeks. So maybe you have to brace yourself for more hikes in the coming months.
Now, government has ruled out activities grinding to a halt as more state institutions shut down their offices to manage the spread of COVID-19. Some state institutions have directed almost all their staff to work from home as the virus hits workplaces. But Chief Executive of the State Interest and Governance Authority, Stephen Asamoah-Boateng, says government had already instituted measures since March to deal with this challenge. He spoke on PM Express on JoyNews.
Yeah, we are looking closely at our operations and interactions and reducing the numbers. And so, yes, we are in constant review of what's going on. So we are worried, but I think we are managing it. you don't know, even the WHO doesn't know what's whether it's in the
talk about managing, that is putting it mildly. I mean, because if you talk about Bosch, you talk about Cocoa Board has been a major contributor to the economy for years. This economy rides on the back of a syndicated loan. Are we heading for an economic crisis, or are we in one already?
No, we've had contingency plans put in place in March. And I remember a directive from the president to all of us was to prepare ourselves for the uneventful or eventful COVID impact on us. So we developed our ICT infrastructure very well. And from March, April, most of our meetings, board, management are virtually conducted. And so we've taken into account all of them. And directives have gone out to the board chairs and the board members as to how to engage with management and try and prevent the spread. So yes, you like it or not, there will be some incidents, but we'll manage it.
Do you expect more to be affected?
I hope not, because we're now talking to everybody what are the measures to put in place since then. And the case of Bosch was a bit strange, because a whole batch of about 27 thereabout all tested positive, which was a bit strange. I'm told today, Monday, they will do a second test, so we'll know the actual numbers. Cocoa Board, there were a few who tested positive, but they had to take precaution and shut down the head office. But the CEOs have set up off-site offices where they have to go and sign documents if they have to. Alternatively, it's scanned to them at home and they scan it back. And so there's uninterrupted business going on. The continuity of government business is my concern, is a concern of the president. And for us, we need to make sure the government business goes on.
Well, Mr. Asamoah-Boateng in that interview also assured government is doing all it can to mitigate the impact of the pandemic on the economy.
Obviously, when people lose their jobs, it doesn't matter what it is, it's personal, it hit them, the family, and so life becomes a bit gloomy, and so there's no feel-good factor anywhere, and that may translate into votes. But it's a point of it's communication, isn't it? It's how it came about and what is the hope or what are the plans to revive the economy. Then they begin to understand, yeah, it's a temporary problem, and so we can overcome it. Indeed, that's what we're trying to explain. COVID hit all of us, United States, UK, everybody. At first, we all thought it wasn't our problem, it was a Chinese problem, but nobody really anticipated it. But since then, the President has taken measures which have put the economy in a way that was not, well, let me put it this way, it was going bad. And he quickly put in measures. Remember his directive to the Minister of Finance to put in some alleviation measures. And then, of course, took the measures on the ECG, the electricity tariffs and water. So there were measures, and of course, the frontline workers, the health, he had to do that. Although money is difficult to come by, but if we put our brains to it, we can find. And the Minister of Finance done extremely well under the circumstance. So, for instance, let me give an example of, we anticipated or we estimated dividend payment, for instance, to the consolidated account from our SOEs of somewhere around 1.2 billion thereabout. But now it's come down drastically. It's not completely been eradicated or it's not completely vanished, but we are all lowering our estimation and also revising our notes and budgets and our programs. And so we are getting some dividends coming in, but not all of them. As you can see, there's a check standing here, which I was expecting more than that. I was expecting about 16 million, but they brought 9 million. So yes, if we had not put in place those measures, we would have lost the 9 million from one of the companies. So it's not bad. So I would assure people that the measures have put us on an even keel. It's not as bad as we thought initially. But between an election, it's not easy creating jobs. I mean, that one, we must be frank about it. But there are areas that jobs can be created, like the NIEP, the initiative from the National Entrepreneurial Initiative Program, so that it's not government creating, it's your personal initiative, which we are training people. I also noticed the YEA also getting involved with Ministry of Sports, for instance, to create jobs within the sports industry. So there are areas we do, and of course the President created a 600 million for the Coronavirus Alleviation Fund, which I'm informed that a lot of small businesses are benefiting across the country. So we're taking measures to alleviate it. It's not in normal time, but we can do something that would limit the damage.
Government giving assurances there in the midst of the pandemic. You're watching the marketplace. Now, a lot more banks are not charging any fee on the various electronic platforms for their customers. That's according to the latest survey of banking charges by the Bank of Ghana. So which bank is offering the most competitive rates when it comes to loans and interest on savings? There's more in the following Business Desk report.
Survey released by the Bank of Ghana covers the first 6 months of this year. It shows that out of 23 banks in the country, only 15 charge customers on services carried out on their various electronic platforms. In some cases, some banks were even charging just a peswa. A significant number of banks were not charging their customers for email alerts sent out. When it comes to deposits, 3 banks, Omnibank and First National Bank, offered 0 deposits for initial savings accounts opened. Or let's say you can open an account without any initial deposit with them. Also, 3 banks allowed depositors to operate the accounts without deposits, while banks like Stanbic, Zenith Bank, Standard Chartered and Societe Generale asked for 100 cedis, which can be described as the highest among the banks. When it comes to the commission on turnover, Prudential Bank might be offering the highest charge for individual transactions. For current accounts, 6 commercial banks actually waived all the charges. For customers who requested checks and bookless transactions, First National Bank offered a highest charge of up to 15 Ghana cedis, while some banks did not charge anything. For monthly bank statements, more than 15 banks were not charging their clients. A careful look at the report shows that a lot more banks were not charging customers on some other essential services like commitment fees and insurance and other facilities. 18 commercial banks were not charging customers for using their card on their own platforms. Barclays had the highest range price as it charged customers from 20 to 50 Ghana cedis as cost of issuing an ATM card. For those who wanted to operate a foreign current account, Zenith Bank, for instance, was saying that you should only have at least $500, which can be described as the highest among the banks. The report has again reviewed that commercial banks are not only reviewing their charges on electronic transactions, but also other service offerings. Since these interest charges on commission forms a large chunk of their income earning, it is not clear how current development could impact on their profit.
Now, the Registrar General's Department is cautioning the business community that it would not extend the date for filing annual returns for another time. The department has been forced to review the extension on 2 occasions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the Registrar General, Jemima Owari, the new deadline should offer businesses enough time to deal with all their concerns. Mrs. Owari also addressed issues to do with the new Companies Act and the registration of businesses on Business Live.
2 things. It's not by force that you should register a company. I mean, we have other modes or other types of registrations, as I said. So if it's too rigorous for you, the reporting requirements are just too rigorous for you, you can start off as a business name. And a business name is also another good way of running your business. You are your own master. You make your profits yourself. You make your losses yourself. All you need to do is renew your business name at the end of the year. And that is just 25 Ghana cedis. It's not too expensive to run a business name. But you can start with that. Then as you move on, as you get a hang of the business and you want to move into the deeper waters of running a company, the Companies Act has given the Minister of Justice to come out with legislative instruments to actually come out with regulations on how SMEs can operate under this new act, where the formalities would have been dropped a bit for the small, medium companies. So we'll come out with that, where the formalities will be dropped a bit. Maybe you might not need the big 5 to audit your accounts and, charge you so much. There could be other auditors down the line that could do that kind of formality for you without it being so expensive. But all I'm saying is you don't necessarily have to register a company if you don't understand the requirements, or if you don't have the various personnel to run it, you don't. We have partnerships.
Right.
Partnerships are easy to run, yes. It's 2 to 20 people can form a partnership. The same, you don't need an auditor to audit accounts of a partnership for you. You, the partners, can do your own auditing, because most of them are auditing firms anyway. You don't need a secretary to run a partnership for you. You just need to file your partnership, renew your partnership at the end of the year. And then, it's far easier to manage. But if you really want to register a company, then you must be ready for it. That's what I'll tell them.
Right. So recently you announced a cleanup of the register of businesses. How successful have you been at that exercise?
Well, I put out the notice, I think, the end of June. So if you can go onto my website, go to news, and then go down to dormant companies. I have a whole list of businesses there that I'm going to start the strike off. I'm not going to strike them off straight away. No, I will not. I've given an opportunity. I've put it out there. If you are seriously doing business in Ghana, come back and let me know. Come back to me. Come back by filing your annual returns. Come back by writing to me that I'm not interested in operating anymore. Take me off the register voluntarily. I've given you that opportunity. After 2 months, I'm going to review whatever I put out there. Those who have complied and come back to us, I'll not put their names out again. I'll come out with a new list. And that new list will give you another 2 months. After that 2 months, if I check and you are still there and you haven't come back to me, I'll put out a list again. And that should take me over 3 months. After 3 months, then I will start the strike off. So I'm still on course, Daryl.
All right, so that was earlier on Business Live. One of the questions I asked Jemima Owari was about the numbers when it comes to business registration. Let's pull up the graphics for you just to give you an idea. And so when it comes to the total, when it comes to subsidiaries, we've seen an uptick from 267 to 304 when it comes to companies limited by guarantee. Those registered, you see the figure, we've seen an increase of 102. Partnerships, we've just had 7 in terms of increase from 2019 to 2020. And registration of companies limited by shares, we've got 950. Now, that's the increase from 2019 to 2018. Now, look at this. Sole proprietorship, look at that number, a decline. So we had 48,860 in 2019, and it's declined to 30,783. That's a decline of 18,077. And when it comes to external companies that have registered, we've got also an increase of 13 companies, 13 in 2019 to 43 in the first half of this year. And so those figures for you to just ponder over. I'm sure subsequently we'll have a discussion around that. When we began the bulletin, we brought you a story of Darlington Akugo, who was on his way to Tamale when he encountered that incident at the airport where the GCAA workers were protesting over their lands. I'm told that he has arrived in Tamale and joins us via Zoom, I believe. Darlington, are you in Tamale?
Made it.
You made it to Tamale. Great, great.
Right.
I know
yes.
it's an experience not everyone wants to encounter, having a flight delay. Tell me about that experience, and were you able to complete the work you were initially headed to Tamale for?
No, so we actually right about to start because the flight was delayed and the field that we are supposed to go to is at least about an hour away from the airport. So we just drove there. So I'm currently at SARI. So this is Savannah Agriculture Research Institute. So we're about to use drones to map some groundnut fields so that we're able to see the effectiveness of different groundnut seeds that will help groundnut farmers basically across all of Africa to ensure that they are growing the right groundnut to fight diseases and pests. So you'll be combining a lot of artificial intelligence technology, but also very much scientific agricultural approaches. So yeah, one of the effects is that we've kind of lost some daylight because the weather is also not consistent. So getting here early would have given us enough time to at least plan ahead. And I have a return flight back to Accra just today. So I have to find a way to map the field and then head back to the airport. And currently, as I'm here, I don't really know the current status of the strike, whether it's over, and then if I do get back to the airport, whether I'll be able to be on the next flight to Accra or that be affected. That's also not very much guaranteed. So yeah, everything is quite messy now.
Thank you so much. I can assure you that the flight the strike has been cancelled. They're back to work, so you'd have a flight back to Accra, safe and sound. And probably later on, we'll talk about that amazing thing you're doing with artificial intelligence, helping those groundnut farmers there in the northern region. But our time is up. That's the Marketplace. My name is Darrell Kwao. Thanks for watching.